Welcome to English Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Simply Explained English.
If you're looking to boost your English in a fun and easy way, you're in the right place. I'm Eric.
And I'm Lisa. In every episode, we break down English words and phrases, making them simple to understand.
So, grab a snack, sit back, and let's dive into today's words.
Okay, Eric, will you say today's words?
Sure, Lisa. The first word today is even though. Then we will continue with to mention, and accurate, then reliable. And the final one is beat around the bush.
It seems that there are two adjectives, one verb, one phrase, and one idiom, right, Eric?
Yes, Lisa, that's right. So let's start with the first word. The first word is even though.
Even though.
Even though. It's a phrase we use to express difference. It means the same as although, or despite the fact that. We usually use it at the beginning or in the middle of a sentence. Let me explain it more simply. There are two situations. For example, yesterday it rained, and I went on a picnic. One situation cannot stop you from doing the other. For instance, the rain did not stop me from going on the picnic. In this case, you can use even though. I went on a picnic yesterday, even though it rained.
Or she got the job even though she was the youngest candidate. It shows that her age was a disadvantage, but she succeeded anyway.
Absolutely, Lisa.
Let me give you another example, Eric, so that our viewers can understand better.
Okay, Lisa.
Even though I was tired, I decided to watch the late-night movie.
Perfect. You were tired, but you decided to watch the late-night movie anyway. Being tired did not stop you from watching late-night movie.
Those are simple and clear examples, Eric. Let's look at our example dialogue about the usage of even though. Let's say our characters are Tom and Sarah, and they're talking about going to a concert.
I'm really excited about the concert tonight.
Me too, even though the weather forecast says it might rain.
Even though it might rain, I think we'll still have a great time. Do you have your umbrella?
Yes, I packed it, just in case. We won't let a little rain stop us.
That was a good way to use even though. Even though it will be bad weather tomorrow, the rain will not affect their opinion about going to the concert. What do you think makes this phrase so special, Eric?
Well, even though allows us to talk about problems, it also shows that we can ignore them. It gives our words more meaning and helps us explain difficult thoughts or situations in a simple way.
Absolutely. Knowing how to use even though correctly can really improve your English conversation skills.
And remember, everyone, practice makes perfect. Try using even though in your daily repeat to learn it. Even though some words may seem difficult, you can learn them easily by practicing.
Well said, Eric. I hope our viewers understood how to use even though correctly.
I hope so, Lisa. Okay, the next word is to mention.
To mention?
To mention. This verb is used when we want to talk about something or someone briefly without going into too much detail. It's a useful and common word that is used in everyday conversation.
That's right, Eric, and there are a couple of ways you can use mention in a sentence. Could you give us the first example, Eric?
Sure, Lisa. Here's the first example. She mentioned that she was going to the store, but she didn't say when. In this sentence, mention is used to talk about going to the store, but doesn't give all the details.
Perfect. I'll add a second example. Did I mention how much I liked the cake you made? This question shows whether the speaker spoke about the cake or not.
Those were great examples. Now, let's dive into a little sample dialogue using the word mention. Today, our scenario is about two friends planning a weekend outing.
Did you mention to Rosa that we're planning to hike this Saturday?
I did mention it, but she said she might have other plans. I'll ask her again to make sure.
Okay, let me know what she says. It would be fun to have her join us.
Definitely. I'll mention it to her one more time.
That was a clear use of the word mention showing how it can be used in a daily dialogue. Lisa, what did you think about the dialogue?
I thought it was simple and effective. It really shows how mentioning can be used in different ways. Tom and Jenny were planning something, and they briefly mentioned telling Jack about it.
Exactly, Lisa. And it's also worth noting that mention can be used in these two forms. The first one is to mention something, like I didn't mention the plan. The second one is to mention that, like he mentioned that he was having problems, but he didn't explain.
That's a great grammar tip. To mention is really versatile. Eric, do you think people often forget to mention important details when they talk?
Sometimes, yes. It's easy to think everyone knows what you mean. That's why it's good to check if you've mentioned everything necessary, especially in plans or instructions.
Agreed, Eric. Well, it looks like we've covered the word mention quite thoroughly. Let's move on to the next word.
The next word is accurate.
Accurate.
Accurate. It's an adjective. That means something is correct, exact, and free from any error. It's important when you need to be very specific about something.
That's a great explanation, Eric. For example, you can say, the clock is very accurate. This means the clock shows the exact time. Or, the weather forecast was accurate. It started raining right at 3 p.m.
Yes, and another example is, it's important to have accurate information when writing a report. This means the information, numbers, etc., must be correct and true. Now let's put accurate into a sample dialogue. Imagine two students discussing their homework assignment.
Did you get the results of the science experiment?
Yes. I double-checked everything to be sure our measurements were accurate.
Good, because accurate data is very important.
Absolutely. I checked twice, and everything was accurate.
Notice how both used accurate. Julia emphasizes the importance of checking measurements so they are free from errors, and Sam mentions the importance of accurate data.
It's very useful, especially in academic and professional settings, right?
Exactly. Lisa, can you remember a time when being accurate was very important for you?
Definitely. When I was applying for a visa, I had to provide accurate details about my travel history. Even a small mistake could have caused big problems.
That's a perfect example of the importance of accuracy. By the way, accuracy is the noun form of accurate. Listeners, try to think of times when being accurate helps you avoid mistakes.
Yes, whether it's during studies, at work, or in daily life, being accurate can save time and trouble. Okay, Eric, let's move on to the next word.
The next word is reliable.
Reliable.
Reliable. It's an adjective that means consistently good in quality or performance, and something or someone you can trust.
That sounds like an important quality to have. Can you give us the first example sentence with reliable?
Of course, Lisa. Here's one. We need a reliable car for our long road trip. This means the car needs to work well consistently without any problems.
That's a practical use of the word. Here's another example. She is a reliable employee who always finishes her tasks on time. This shows that you can trust her to complete her work on time.
Great examples, Lisa. Now, let's set up a sample dialogue. This time, let's imagine two friends talking about planning a birthday party.
I think we should hire that band for the party. Are they reliable?
Yes, they're very reliable. They always show up on time and their music is fantastic.
That's good to know. Reliable people are important for making the part fun.
Absolutely, I'll book them today. We can trust them to make it a great night.
It was a good example of how to use reliable in a conversation. Lisa, when do you think it's important to have reliable people and services around?
Being reliable is essential in almost every aspect of life, Eric. Whether it's at work, in personal relationships, or even the services we use daily, like public transport.
I agree, Lisa. Okay, what do you think makes someone or something reliable?
Consistency is key, Eric. Doing always what you say you will do makes a person or service reliable.
True, Lisa. And it's very important to have reliable friends. When you need them, you can trust them.
I agree. And in your opinion, what makes a source reliable, Eric?
A source is reliable if it has a history of accuracy and if it is respected by others in the field.
That makes sense. Being reliable is an important quality, whether it's a person, a car, or information.
Exactly. And that's reliable for our listeners. Remember, if something or someone is reliable, you can trust them to be good or to behave as you expect.
Yes, Eric. So now it's time for our last word.
The last word is beat around the bush.
Beat around the bush.
Beat around the bush. It's an idiom that means to avoid talking about what is important. People use it when they do not want to get to the point directly.
That's a very useful idiom, especially when you want someone to be more direct. For example, you can say, "Stop beating around the bush and tell me what happened."
Exactly, Lisa. Another example is, during the meeting, he just kept beating around the bush instead of talking about the real problem.
Okay, Eric, let's dive into a sample dialogue. Imagine two coworkers discussing an upcoming meeting.
Do you think the boss will give us a raise this year?
Well, he keeps beating around the bush every time I ask. He talks about budgets and future projects, but never gives a direct answer.
That's frustrating. Maybe we should ask him directly in the meeting not to beat around the bush this time.
Good idea. It's better to have a clear answer so we can plan accordingly.
That's a helpful example. Now let's talk about it. Do you ever find yourself beating around the bush, Eric?
Sometimes, when I'm nervous about someone's reaction, I might beat around the bush a little.
I think we all do it sometimes. It can be hard to be direct when you're worried about the result.
True, but I've learned that it's usually better to be direct and clear.
Definitely. Being direct saves time and prevents misunderstandings.
Exactly, and that's beat around the bush for our listeners. Try to be direct in your communication and avoid beating around the bush.
Okay, Eric, I think we have reached the end of our podcast.
Yes, Lisa. Thanks for joining us today. We hope this episode helps you communicate more clearly.
I look forward to seeing you next time on Simply Explained English, where we'll continue to explore English in simple terms.
Goodbye, everyone. And remember, clear communication is the best communication.
Bye-bye. Welcome to Simply Explained English, the podcast, where we make learning English easy and fun. I am Lisa.
I am Eric. In each episode, we explain 5 English words or phrases in simple, basic English. Whether you're a student, a professional, or just someone who loves learning English, this podcast is for you.
So let's get started and make English simple and enjoyable together. What are the words today, Eric?
The first word today is ambitious. Then we will continue with in spite of. And to run away. Then, so far, so good. And the final one is on the go.
Today's words are really interesting.
Yes, they are, Lisa. Okay, the first word today is ambitious.
Ambitious.
Ambitious. Ambitious means having a strong desire to succeed or achieve something.
Ambitious people usually work very hard and have big goals.
Exactly, Lisa. For example, we could say, she is ambitious and plans to start her own company. This sentence shows that she has big plans for her future and has been working hard to make them.
Good example. Another sentence could be, he's very ambitious about his studies. This means he is very determined to do well in school.
Perfect. Let's imagine 2 athletes, Laura and David, talking after training.
David, you've set some ambitious targets for this season.
Yes, I want to be a champion, and for that I need ambitious goals.
I agree with you. You need to be ambitious to achieve big goals.
That was an inspiring example. They both use the word ambitious to describe their goals. It's good to have ambitions. By the way, Ambition is the noun form of ambitious.
Thank you for explaining ambition, Lisa. Let me give you an example of ambition. She had always had some ambition to be a pilot.
That's a good example. Let's go back to the word ambitious, Eric. Were you ambitious when you were younger?
I was, Lisa. I was very ambitious to become a teacher, and here I am. What about you, Lisa?
Oh, absolutely. I was ambitious about learning languages, and now I can speak 2 foreign languages.
It's always good to hear how being ambitious brings success. I think it helps people make goals and work hard to achieve them.
I agree. Ambition can help us achieve our dreams. But do you think there is a difference between being ambitious and being too ambitious?
That's a good question. I think being ambitious is good, but being too ambitious can be stressful. It's important to have a balance. What do you think, Lisa?
I think the same. We should be ambitious but also take care of ourselves. As you said, being too ambitious might be very stressful, and it can negatively affect our lives.
And that's ambitious for our listeners. Remember, being ambitious means having a strong desire to achieve something great.
Let's move on to our next word. What's the next word, Eric?
The next word is in spite of.
In spite of.
In spite of. In spite of is used to show differences or difficulties. It means the same as despite, and it is similar to the meaning of even though, which we explained in video number 43.
That's a very useful phrase. We use it to describe a situation that might be surprising because it happens even though it is difficult.
Exactly, Lisa. For example, you might say, in spite of the rain, we went for a walk. It shows that even though it was raining, which usually stops people from going outside, we still went for a walk.
Another example could be, she could not pass the exam in spite of studying hard. This means she studied hard, but could not pass the exam anyway.
Remember, in spite of is a phrase, and it is often followed by a noun or a gerund, verb plus ing. For example, you can say, in spite of the bad weather, the rain, or in spite of feeling sick, or studying hard.
Good grammar point, Eric. Now let's hear in spite of used in a sample dialogue. This time, imagine 2 co-workers, Mark and Tina, discussing a project at work.
Mark, how's the project going? I heard there were some problems.
It's going well, in spite of those problems. We managed to find another solution at the last minute.
That's impressive, especially in spite of the tight deadline. Do you think we'll finish on time?
Yes, I'm confident we will. The team is working hard in spite of these problems.
That was a nice dialogue. Mark's team is doing well in spite of some problems. Eric, do you think it's hard to do things in spite of some difficulties?
Yes, sometimes it can be hard, but it feels good when we achieve our goals in spite of problems.
I agree. Overcoming difficulties makes us stronger. Do you have an example from your life?
Yes, I do. I was once studying for exams in spite of being very tired. It was tough, but I did well. How about you, Lisa?
I once went hiking in spite of the rain. It was challenging, but the view was worth it.
That's the power of in spite of. It shows our determination or effort. So, listeners, remember to use in spite of when you want to express that you overcome a problem or difficulty.
All right, now let's move on to the next word, Eric.
The next word is to run away.
To run away.
To run away.
It is a phrasal verb.
Yes, Lisa. To run away means to leave a place quickly because you are scared or don't want to stay. For example, if you see a big dog and you are scared, you might run away. For example, the cat ran away when it saw the dog.
Another meaning is to avoid dealing with a problem. She ran away from her responsibilities, or most of the students ran away from him when he tried to talk to them.
Good examples. And a quick note about grammar. After run away, we sometimes use from, like your example. And another one, people ran away from the burning building.
Let's put to run away into a dialogue. Imagine a scene where two friends are discussing a recent event at school.
Did you hear what happened to Sarah during the meeting? She ran away in the middle of the conversation.
Yes, I saw her. She looked really upset. Why did she run away?
Later, she told me that she felt really nervous and just needed to escape for a bit.
I hope she's okay. It's hard to see someone run away from stress.
Yeah, I'm going to talk to her later and see if she needs any help.
That dialogue really shows how to run away can be used in different contexts.
It does, Eric. The first run away in the dialogue means that Lisa ran away from the meeting place. She ran away in the middle of the conversation. This is the literal meaning. The other one means that she is running away from stress, which is a metaphorical meaning.
Yes, Lisa. Good explanation.
Eric, have you ever wanted to run away from something?
Sometimes, Lisa. Like many people, I've wanted to run away from difficult tasks at work, but I try to face them instead. What about you?
Actually, like you. Sometimes I want to run away during some tough times, but I try to calm down and focus on what I do. Speaking of running away, according to the news, thousands of children run away from home each year. It's very sad, isn't it?
Yes, it is, Lisa. Something should be done to deal with this problem.
I agree, Eric.
Okay, it's good for our listeners to understand that to run away can be literal or figurative. It can help them express feelings of escaping or avoiding.
Okay, let's move on to the next word.
The next word is so far, so good.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. We use this expression to say that things have been going well until now.
It's a really positive phrase, isn't it? It suggests that although more time is needed to see the final result, everything is fine for now. We need more time to see the final result, but it means that everything is going well so far or until now.
Exactly, Lisa. If someone asks you how your new job is going, you could say, so far, so good. This means that everything has been going well up until now.
Another scenario could be during a long drive. You might check in with your passengers and say, so far, so good, meaning the journey is going smoothly without any problems.
Now let's put this expression into a dialogue. Imagine two students working on a group project together.
How's the project going, Jenna?
So far, so good. I found some really useful sources.
That's great to hear. I'm making good progress on my writing side. So far, so good.
Perfect. If we keep up this pace, we should finish earlier, we plan.
That was a nice dialogue. Eric, when do you think people use the phrase so far so good?
People use it when they want to say that everything is going well up to a certain point.
I agree. It's a simple way to say that things are fine until now. Do you have an example from your life?
Yes. When I started learning to cook, I sometimes said, so far, so good, after making each dish successfully. How about you, Lisa?
When I was learning to drive, my instructor often said, so far, so good during our lessons. It made me feel more confident.
For everyone learning English, try using this phrase when you want to express that things are going well until that point. It's a useful, optimistic phrase.
Well, it's time for our last word today.
Yes, Lisa. The last word today is on the go.
On the go.
On the go. On the go means to be busy and active, moving from one place to another. It's used to describe someone who is always doing something or going somewhere.
For example, you might say, she is always on the go from work to the gym to meeting friends. This means you eat while commuting or rushing to work because you don't have time to sit down.
Absolutely, Lisa. Another example could be, he's always on the go, juggling school and 2 part-time jobs. This shows that he is constantly moving from one task to another without much downtime.
Let's hear how this phrase works in a dialogue. Imagine 2 friends catching up after not seeing each other for a while.
Hey Sam, how have you been? I haven't seen you in ages.
Hi, Nina. I've been good, just always on the go. How about you?
I'm the same here. I'm always on the go. Work has been crazy, and I joined a dance class as well.
Sounds like you're keeping busy. It's tough, but fun to be on the go all the time.
Absolutely. It keeps life exciting.
That dialogue shows both friends are leading busy lives, constantly on the move.
It really does, Eric. Using on the go helps express that they are busy and active in their lives. Do you often find yourself on the go, Eric?
I do, Lisa. Between recording podcasts, attending meetings, and going to the gym, I'm always on the go. What about you, Lisa?
Between work, volunteering, and social commitments, I cannot find time to sit down.
It's important for our listeners to understand that on the go can be used to describe their busy lives in English. It's a useful phrase for everyday conversation.
Indeed, Eric. Even though it can be tiring, some might think it's living a full and busy life.
We hope this discussion helps you understand how to use on the go. I guess that's the end of our podcast.
That's all for today's episode of Simply Explained English.
Remember to repeat the new words in your daily studies. And thank you for listening. And don't forget to tune in next time for more easy and fun English lessons.
We hope you enjoyed learning with us. Until then, keep practicing and stay curious. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.